episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I have lost 145 pounds, and with me today is...
Donald Weigel, and I have lost about 100 pounds, and we only look thin.
We are, and one thing that we enjoy doing is forgetting. We forget what we're going to say. We forget all of the advice that we have given in the past. And today is no different. And we are banking on your forgetfulness today by going back into the We Only Look Thin vaults and talking about weight loss loopholes.
Those vaults are serious, by the way. Do not even think about breaking into them.
Do you remember when Disney would open the vaults and release Cinderella for a limited time?
Right.
Like, quick, watch it.
In the vault.
In the vault. But in the, it's actually funny. We have Wolt Place, W-O-L-T Place, and a couple of people pronounce the W as V's as though we were European, which sounds very continental.
Yeah,
I was like, how's Volt doing?
Volt Place, yeah.
It's not Volt.
I apologize for the accent.
And we apologize to Chevy, the makers of the Volt.
Oh, yeah,
the
Chevy Volt. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you get your money's worth.
It's really the Chevy We Only Look Thin in my mind.
No, we're just Volt, just American Volt.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. But back in episodes 11 and 12 of this very podcast.
11 and 12?
Oh
that was
gosh.
A long time ago.
It wore a sailor suit and
we're in the 160s now.
Oh my gosh. I forget what we talk about. And
you wore a sailor suit?
I don't know. It's like back in old timey. I imagine it in a daguerreotype with old fashioned, old timey black and white. When we were in black and white.
Right. The podcast was yellowed back then for some reason.
If you go back and listen, the sound quality is not as rich and dramatic as it is now. And
oh my goodness. Such good sound quality now.
Thanks to Donald Weigel. I have nothing to do with the way this sounds.
Well, you provide the content, though, so...
Oh, I thought you were going to say the comedy.
We're even.
Yeah. Anyway, so way back in the day, like my entire life, I thought weight loss was about two things: moving and eating.
Yeah.
But it turns out there's a secret third pillar to weight loss, Donald.
What?
Yes.
What? Why hasn't anyone told me about it?
We talked about it before the podcast started.
Oh, yeah, we did.
It's mindset.
Oh, yeah. Mindset. See, you said that I enjoyed forgetting things. I enjoyed forgetting that. Yeah.
We're like Dory from Finding Nemo.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I really do think people don't talk about mindset enough, and unless you're us, in which case we talk about it all the time.
Just the right amount.
I really believe that changing my mindset was 60% or more responsible for me managing to finally hit my goal weight and to maintain it for these past 3 years.
Yeah, so back when we started the podcast, we did a 2-part episode covering Gretchen Rubin's logic loopholes. Say that 5 times
Easy for you
fast.
to say.
Oh my gosh, we've re-recorded
Peter Piper
this
picked a peck of pickled peppers
6 times. So she talked about loopholes for not starting habits or not keeping habits. And listening to her podcast, Happier with Gretchen Rubin, friend of the show. I realized that there were so many habit loopholes that I was invoking to keep me from my goals. And in the past, I thought all I needed to do was track calories and go to the gym. And it turns out that my mindset of self-sabotage was actually the really big part of me not being able to keep weight off.
Yeah, for sure. And these loopholes are essentially, they're not in the Gretchen Rubin world, they're not specifically aimed at weight loss. It's any sort of habit forming that somebody does. It could be gambling, it could be spending too much money, but we are focusing on them in the light of losing and maintaining weight. And, it's kind of the overarching theme of these is that people lie to themselves.
Yeah.
And I spent my whole life basically lying to myself about why I couldn't get into my best shape, why I couldn't achieve my goals. And when I finally started calling myself on my own lies is when things really started changing.
Well, and I think too, we're smart people.
Are we?
We are.
Oh, okay, good.
We have degrees.
Good.
Yeah, but we're smart and we want to justify all of our actions and our whys. I'm smart. Why can't I lose weight? I've got a lot going on. Why can't I lose weight?
If you're listening to this podcast, you are smart, by the way.
You are smart.
Yeah.
But in that, we try to come up with reasons for why we're not able to achieve our goals. So today we're going to go through 5 of the habit loopholes that Gretchen Rubin lays out. And then in the next episode, we're going to drop another 5. Why? Because you don't remember what we said before.
Number 5. It's like Casey Kasem's top 40, only
Exactly.
It's 5 and 5 of 10.
But honestly, I mean, and we still have to manage these. And going back and doing a refresher is as much for me as it is for you.
Yeah, seriously. In all seriousness, I know this may sound weird. I really thought I knew these loopholes backwards and forwards. I couldn't remember what one of them was when I was looking at them. I couldn't remember by the title, like what it meant. I had to go back, and I actually watched a video of Gretchen Rubin talking about it so I could remind myself of what it actually was.
Yeah. So in this, as we go through the loopholes, we know that not every single one is going to apply to all of our listeners, but try to find a grain of truth in these. What do you invoke? And what excuses are you making to keep you from your goals? The better self-understanding we have, and the more, like Donald said, the more we can call ourselves on our own old stories or old habit loops, the better we are able to move forward. Again, I still invoke some of these. I'll talk about that later on the show as we're going through because I feel attacked.
That's what we call in the biz a teaser.
Well, and I still wonder if I self-sabotage just to have fodder for the show.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
No one knows. No one will ever know.
No, but we have to stay present in our choices because it's so easy after spending 40 plus years of sabotaging ourselves. It's very easy to go back to these old loopholes, especially during times of COVID or job loss or whatever.
It turns out we're very, very good at self-sabotage.
We're so good at
which
it.
is why
we might be the very best at it.
Never been anyone better at
The
self-sabotage
best
than us.
saboteurs.
All right, so shall we get to the list?
Sure.
Number 1.
Number 1. It's the this or that false choice loophole.
Yes, the false choice, which is setting yourself up with I can only do one thing, but not the other. What are some examples of that, dear?
That is a good question. So in the this or that, we often see that we only have 2 choices. And in life, we know from that movie I never saw and book I never read, there are 50 shades of this or that we can...
Oh my goodness.
I didn't read it. I don't know what it's about. Maybe it was about choices.
Yes, it was about good habits as far as I know.
If you know what it was about, let us
If
know.
you know what 50 Shades of Grey is about, please give us a summary. No, please don't.
So in the grand scope, I can't do this because I'm doing that. So I can't track calories because I've got to organize my taxes.
Oh, yeah.
I can't work out because we've got landscaping that's going to be done and I got to think about what kind of
Yeah.
deciduous trees to put in the backyard.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
You know.
Yeah, as you do.
With Donald, he'd just be like, I just want a green one. I don't know what it's called. I don't know.
Yeah, can I get the tree kind that goes in the ground and grows?
Not the Christmas ones.
That's what I want. Yeah, not a Christmas one.
I can't think about my health because we're looking at buying a new car.
Oh, yeah.
I can't portion control because I'm in an argument with my boss. I can't join Weight Watchers because right now we're distance learning. I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
We are dealing with distance learning.
Yeah, things like I can't exercise because I have too much work to do. I have to go through my emails right now. I can't join that accountability group because it won't leave me enough time with my family.
I love my family so much.
Yeah.
I can't pre-track my calories because I'm going to lunch with a client. How am I supposed to know what I'm going to eat? It's
Yeah.
a mystery. So we spend so much time seeing it as a this or that instead of a broad spectrum of gray, as they...
Yeah, exactly. Oh, one more that I stole directly from Gretchen Rubin. She says, I can't go to bed any earlier because then I won't have any time for myself,
Yeah,
which is one that I use all the
we
time.
definitely use that.
But the point here is that when you really look at most of these things, look, sometimes these are valid. You know, you really can't do 2 things because there's too much of one thing going on. But in reality, most of the time, you really could do both if you actually wanted to. And, you might say to yourself, but I do really want to. But if you did really want to, you would do it. Trust me, I figured this out as I've been going along on this whole weight loss journey adventure, that I was lying to myself all the time about not being able to go to bed earlier, not being able to drink more water, not being able to track my calories, not having time to prep food, not having time to get in exercise. Like, it turns out I was able to do all of those things, and the rest of my life did not fall apart.
Yeah, I think we spend so much time believing that we're too busy, too overwhelmed, have too much going on. And I use that as an excuse to overeat. I used parenthood, work, whatever, volunteering as an excuse to why I didn't have time for myself. So the question to ask yourself is, in all of this, what do you see as being true to you? What excuses do you make? Because that's really what they are.
Yeah.
And the question is, how can I modify this to make it work? If you're saying I can't pre-track my calories because I'm going to lunch with a client, you can look on the internet and see what the menu is and kind of estimate based on what you think you're going to get, how many calories you're going to have. If you are re-landscaping your yard, you can walk around while you're talking to the landscaper.
Yeah,
you can still do things. Okay, I can't go to the gym, but I can do a 5-minute walk before dinner. We've talked about it on many, many episodes, different ways that you can make modifications. But instead of the broad stroke, I can't, there's no way. Okay, well, what can you do? We were talking to our daughter a while ago about a fitness thing that she had to do for school. And she just said, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I said, well, what can you do? Could you do one knee push-up? Well, yeah, I could. Okay, well, just do that. Okay, well, you can't track accurately. Can you estimate based on what it says on your fitness tracker that the Olive Garden version of the, wild taste of Parmesan cheese chicken?
Right. And the idea here is that you don't need to be 100% perfect on these things. I think that we also sometimes think that if we can't be perfect on these things, that we shouldn't do them at all. So doing something is definitely better than doing nothing.
Yeah. And I think too, I know that I spent so much time making myself busy so that I thought I couldn't manage my own health goals. I over volunteered. I worried about things. I fretted. I spent a lot of time scrolling on the internet and watching TV and sitting around and drinking alcohol and eating hummus for hours and hours and hours. And I said I didn't have time. If I go back and look at it, I'm like, boy, I sure did sit a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Or staying up late and watching Seinfeld reruns on Channel 13 instead of getting a good night's sleep so that I could get up early and get some steps in the morning before work.
Anyway, so how can you take agency in your life? How can you let go of those this or that's? And if you have questions about how to manage your thises or thatses, you can email us at weonlylookThin@gmail.com, and we can probably help you come up with a way to let that go.
Yes, indeed, for sure.
All right, so our second loophole is the moral licensing loophole. We give ourselves permission to do something bad because we think we've earned it or deserve it.
Yeah, and this is sort of the, I have been so good, I deserve this treat, is the other name for this loophole.
I've lost weight, so I can stop getting on the scale. I'm fixed. It's over.
That's a good one.
I skipped that indulgence at the party yesterday, so today I deserve a big homemade breakfast.
Yeah.
I've had a hard day, so I deserve a glass of wine or 3. I have been working really, really hard, so I deserve takeout plus appetizers and a pint of ice cream. I have said that many times.
Yeah, or I have been doing something for others, so I deserve a treat for myself now.
Yeah. So if you hear yourself saying that you deserve it or you've earned it, you really might want to step back and see if that's actually a great choice for you. Now, we are also not saying that you shouldn't have indulgences. We plan indulgences into our daily habits.
For sure.
So it's not, it's not like all or nothing. You're not on a diet. It's just about really thinking about your motivations for including a treat in your life.
I think the bottom line here is that there is no magical, weight loss Santa Claus that is measuring who's naughty and who's been nice and giving you a pass. Well, you donated your time to the children's charity, so
Yeah.
therefore you can eat an entire cheesecake and you won't gain any weight from it. Like, it just doesn't work like that. It is false to say to yourself that you deserve a certain treat, because the treat is still going to act on your body in the same way that it would whether you didn't deserve it, whether you did volunteer your time for somebody else or not. Like, it's still going to act upon you the same way that it would whether you were, out kicking puppies instead or something.
Well, and two, the whole I went to the pancake breakfast and I didn't eat all of the pancakes.
Right.
So I deserve this. Like, there's no, I should get credit for what I didn't do when it comes to calories, because calories just have no regret and no sympathy for you.
Yeah, exactly. They still do what they do regardless of whether you deserve it or you don't.
Exactly. And before we move on to number 3, I would just like to pause for a moment and thank my husband for the hours of editing that he does on this podcast. I know you won't be able to tell as he seamlessly connects each part of this podcast
That's
together.
right.
We have had to stop this podcast, 20, 30 times so far this morning.
We've had leaf blowers and pages turning and me forgetting what I was going to say.
It's basically every sound that you might hear in a city has happened this morning while we've been trying to record. It's a holiday, but turns out social services and community services do not stop for holidays of presidents.
Yeah, if I was writing a comedy about people making a podcast and being interrupted by city sounds, like, I couldn't have come up with more. I think like a herd of cows came through a little while ago.
Jackhammers, trash trucks, leaf blowers, hammers for some reason. I just want to thank you for all of your hard work, because this is not going to be an easy episode to edit. And just because it hasn't been easy doesn't mean you deserve one darn calorie. I'm just letting you know.
Very true.
I definitely, as the 5th leaf blower was going by, there aren't even any leaves. It's winter. What are they blowing around?
I know. It's February and they're still blowing leaves around.
I guess they get paid whether there are leaves or not.
I guess so.
But I was actually thinking to myself, I deserve a treat for all of these inconveniences that we're experiencing. Then I remembered we were doing an episode on loopholes.
Yeah.
So so now we'll get to the next loophole, which I think before, because I only have one joke, it is the Little Orphan Annie loophole of tomorrow. The tomorrow loophole. It's okay to skip today, because tomorrow I'm going to start.
Yeah, I like to call this one, this is not a Gretchen Rubin thing. I like to call this the dig yourself deeper before you climb out loophole, which is the idea that you're in a hole and that you need to climb out of, and instead of just starting to climb out, you decide, I'm going to dig it a little deeper before
make it a little harder.
Because it's not challenging enough right now, so I'm going to make it even harder and dig it deeper.
Yeah, I'll start my diet March 1st, so it's okay to indulge now. I will eat whatever I want this week because I'm starting keto with my friend on Monday. I got to get it out of my system. So Gretchen Rubin says, we live in a world where we think we're going to be virtuous tomorrow. If we just get it out of our system, one last hurrah, that we'll never need another snack again. If we eat it today, we'll be fixed tomorrow because we will have had our fill.
Yeah, I love that last hurrah. We've talked about it before, that idea in December that on January 1st you're going to start on the new path, and so you just destroy everything in December and eat as much as possible to get in that last bit of joy before you're going to start. And then guess what? You don't start on January 1st.
Well, and two, we live in a world where we think our future self is suddenly going to be imbued with more patience, with a better mindset, with habits that we're suddenly willing to take on, and we don't magically become a new person with the turn of a calendar page or a new day of the week. We become that person by doing the things that person would do, which is really annoying.
Yeah, we start out, we do our habits, we do what we can do right now, and we build on them. That's how we do it. And we build that over time until we finally become that person that we thought we were going to magically become overnight.
You're freaking me out, man.
That's what I'm here for, freaking you out.
Yeah, but it's that the tomorrow self is better than the today self. But there's I think there was some quote in one of those habit things that we look at, probably James Clear,
Probably.
friend of the show, where it's, a habit is easier to break today than it is tomorrow. There's no tomorrow everything will be better. I'll be less stressed out. School will be over. The thing will be over. I'll get past the thing and then it'll be easy. It's never going to be easy. Guess what? Buttercup is never going to be easy.
Oh, wow. I think that I apologize, listeners,
to the
for
Buttercup community.
You being called Buttercup, yeah.
All right, what's number 4, Donald?
Number 4 is the lack of control loophole, a.k.a. the I can't help myself.
Yep. I can't help myself. What am I to do? I'm a victim of circumstance.
Yeah, and we have talked about before, when you tell yourself that you can't do something, you can't do it.
Yeah,
you're
will
gonna
prove
believe
yourself
it.
right.
Yeah, you say to yourself, well, I can't possibly control myself around X, Y, or Z thing. There's just no way. And when you tell yourself that, then it becomes true every time.
Yep.
But guess what? If you tell yourself that you can, that can become the truth.
Yeah.
And you're not going to find out until you start believing that you can do something.
Right. So I just can't resist my coworkers' baked goods. I'm not the one making dinner, so I have no control over what food I have.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm staying with my family for a week, so I can't work out.
Yeah.
My gym closed. I'm not motivated. What am I to do until the gym opens again? We opened a bottle of wine. We gotta finish it. Gotta get our money's worth.
Oh, that one. The like I can't throw it away loophole.
Yeah.
I mean, which is sort of a sub loophole of this loophole. Now it's like a
So,
loophole within a loophole.
Oh,
It's
no.
like Inception. Suddenly, we're at multiple layers of the dream.
Right. I never remember to track my food. I never
Yeah.
remember.
I never remember.
to do that.
There's nothing I can do about that.
I never remember to weigh my portion.
Mhm.
It's always too late before I remember to do the thing that I do. Guess what? Buttercup. I'll say it now.
Oh, you doubled down on Buttercup.
Buttercups. I don't want to eat.
flower?
Remember?
Is it a Buttercup of flour?
Yes.
All
I
right.
don't know, it sounds delicious.
It's not peanut butter cup.
That's true. But we tell ourselves that we're just not the kind of people who remember those kinds of things. We weren't those people either. We did it by establishing consistent habits, consistent consistent batters of behavior. The only way to create a habit is to consistently perform that behavior.
Yeah.
And to schedule a time and a place to do it, and a routine and a ritual. It is very easy to, like they say, it takes 21 days to start a habit or to solidify a habit. Guess what? If I get in the habit of going to McDonald's, I don't need 21 days to make that a habit.
No, I could make that habit in a day.
Boom! It is now a habit. Habits are about making it easy to make the habit, to have the resources and the tools out to make it happen. If we tell ourselves it's hard, it will be hard. But it takes us 2 minutes to track our breakfast, 2 minutes for lunch, dinner. We're talking 6 minutes a day. It's not that much. It's just a habit that we've created. So
yeah, and you are stronger than you think. You are an adult who is capable of great and difficult things, and you can do it. I used to tell myself all the time that I couldn't, that I would never. And those kinds of negative thoughts seep in, and I began to believe them. And guess what? It turns out I could do it, and I did do it, and I am doing it every day. And believe me, if I can, you can too. You're probably stronger and more capable than I am, and I believe in you.
Yeah, well, and two, I think, in the end, if we don't start taking some agency for the choices in our life, we're going to wake up at age 41 and wonder what happened. And, when are you supposed to finally be an adult? An adult always seems like 10 years older than you are. Like, oh, well, when I'm that age, then I'll be the kind of person who does that. If we don't start taking some responsibility for ourselves, we're going to be 80 being like, well, I'm still trying to figure it out. 90-year-olds sure are lucky to have it figured out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how people are always saying that about 90-year-olds.
When I'm 90, then I'll figure it out.
All right, so now we're on number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. I think we've been working on this podcast for about 7 hours now. It seems like a simple 30-minute episode, but Donald and I are in this.
We are deep.
Our tie collars are loosened. Our hair's frazzled.
I know. I've rolled up my short sleeve T-shirt.
Our cigarettes, in the passing of time, are down to nubs now, and the cigarette ashtray is now just full of ash and regret.
All right, let's do it. Number 5.
Okay. This one is, Donald and I got confused on this one because we were calling it 2 different things. So it's all the same thing. So here we go. It's the planning to fail loophole, or previously called the apparently irrelevant decision loophole. I think planning to fail is a better one.
Yeah, planning to fail is better. And it is the idea that whether you acknowledge it or not, you set yourself up to fail. You say to yourself, well, I'm going to buy these cookies just in case company stops by.
For company. You drive to the hardware store to get some sandpaper, and oh no, that taqueria truck is parked outside there again. Oh, they're always there. I want to support local business.
Exactly.
I'm so surprised. I went to the store to get some broccoli, but they were having a sale on slices of cake. They got a sale. I gotta get the $2.99 slice of cake.
Yeah, the example that I love Gretchen Rubin gave on her website was she talked about somebody who had a gambling issue, and they were in Las Vegas, and the person said, well, I was in Las Vegas. What am I supposed to do other than gamble? And Gretchen Rubin was like, well, why were you in Las Vegas? And the guy was like, well, I bought a new car and I needed to take it on a road trip to make sure it was good. And you took it on a road trip specifically to Las Vegas so that you could, so you had no choice other than to gamble. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about.
Right. And I'm not going to order an appetizer, but I might taste yours, just to see what it tastes like. Oh, I'm making cookies for my daughter's class, but I really should taste it and do a sample test batch first to make sure that it's good, because I don't want to make the kids cry.
Yeah, or I'm really solid on my diet and exercise plan until I go to the buffet, and then I have to get value out of the buffet, so I eat all of the stuff. Guess what? Don't go to the buffet. You're planning to fail.
Right. Or, let's go for a walk. Oh, I forgot that our favorite restaurant is right there. Oh, who knew? Oh, look, the bakery's there. Oh, no.
Yeah, and the thing that I used to do all the time was to wait till I was kind of hungry. I wouldn't eat beforehand. I wouldn't bring any food with me. Then I would plan to go to several stores back to back, and I would find myself so hungry that I had no choice but to eat the fast food that was right there.
I feel like Donald's attacking me a little bit because, was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know. It's a 3-day weekend. Time has no meaning anymore. Went to Costco because I needed to return some things. Our daughter wanted a slice of pizza to have for dinner, because then I wouldn't have to make dinner, which is great. I was like, I'm here. I might as well get myself a piece of pizza to have for dinner, because I can afford that.
I regret not volunteering to go get the pizza now, too, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I was like, no, I'll get it. It'll be fine. I didn't intend to get pizza.
I stayed in line to pay for our groceries.
Yeah. I feel like we're in front of Judge Judy, and she's going to decide who the loser is, which is probably me.
Oh, well.
But I was like, I'll get myself a slice of pepperoni pizza. It's fine. I'm going to get pepperoni pizza. I'm supporting the economy. I ate it cold while putting groceries away. It did not make it to dinner. I had it for lunch. I wolfed it down. It was not classy. And that seemed to be an irrelevant decision. It was just getting pizza for tonight.
Yeah.
It did not make it there. It was impulsive. And that I should know better. That's a loophole. The Costco loophole.
It sure is. So I have learned over time that part of this is planning for success.
Yeah.
And ignoring that planning to fail. I used to set myself up for failure all the time, whether it was conscious or unconscious. There was a part of me that wanted that excuse to go off of my diet and exercise plan. And now I don't allow myself to give in to that. I plan ahead. I have emergency backup food. I have emergency backup plans for things. And look, Does life sometimes happen and it doesn't go exactly as I would like? Yes, absolutely. But at least now I'm conscious of it and I've stopped lying to myself, and I can, instead of setting myself up for failure, try and at least set myself up for success. And it tends to work out most of the time.
Well, and being honest with yourself about your intentions, because even if I, say to myself, there is a very good chance if I go to Costco and I get pizza and I say I'm going to have it for dinner, that it won't make it home. And just that bit of honesty and knowing yourself and understanding what you're going to do. Because you watch TV shows where people just make the same mistakes over and over again. And it's like, you're going to do that if you do that. And even, I'm going to take a crack at the show Cheers while we're at it.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, before we finish this up.
Have you ever seen that show?
I have, like 1,000 times.
Okay.
Sam Malone, beloved Ted Danson.
Yes.
Is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And he works at a bar. And the whole thing is, Sam works at a bar, but he doesn't drink. So we think that we're Sam. I don't have a problem. I can work the bake sale. I can make cookies for everybody.
This is really good.
I'm going to test my resolve. If Sam Malone, a TV character paid millions of dollars, can make it happen, so can we.
I can go sit in Kentucky Fried Chicken and just have a diet soda.
Oh, I'll be fine. I'll manage the bake sale. I'm fine. It's not a big issue. Oh, wait, it is. I don't want it to go bad.
Yeah, it turns out I'm still the same person who's still going to eat all that stuff.
I know. I actually, today in the Facebook memories, taking me down memory lane, came up 7 years ago where I made the sugar cookies for our daughter's class.
Yeah.
And literally ate half of the dough and had to make little tiny baby cookies for all the kids because I had eaten half of the dough. I needed to make sure they made it around the class. Everybody got half a heart, like a best friend locket chain. Didn't work out so well for me. So that was a grim reminder of my my past benevolent behavior of making cookies for the class.
And now you're giving our listening audience your entire heart.
I am.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. I think that wraps up the first part of our Gretchen Rubin logic loopholes retrospective redux.
Redux, exactly. And really think about these 5 that we have given you. What do you invoke? How can you start being an agent of change in your own life? Calling yourself on your own excuses, making positive changes. And if you need help with any of them, now might be a great time to join Wolt Place, WOLT Place. It is an online accountability group based on Facebook for women where we support each other and help really shine a light on the old excuses and loopholes that we give ourselves.
So if you'd like more information on that, you can go to our website, weonlylookthin.com, and click on Join Our Support Group. Yep. There's more information about it, and there's information on pricing, etc. And you can also reach out to us via email if you have any questions about that. Catherine mentioned it earlier in the show. weonlylookthin@gmail.com. And if you sign up for Wolt Place, you get a complimentary 3-day trial if you sign up for 1 month, and you get a complimentary 7-day trial if you sign up for a 3-month membership. Yeah. So check it out.
Yeah. And if you would like to follow us on the socials, you can do that on the Instagrams, the Twitters, and the Facebooks at We Only Look Thin.
You sure can. And if you like this episode, would like to listen to more of them, they are all available still at our website, We Only Look Thin at weonlylookthin.com. And it is also available wherever you found this podcast.
Yep. And if you found this podcast and you liked it, you can go to Apple Podcasts and maybe give us a rating and review. We're at 425-star reviews.
Wow.
Hooray!
Yeah, that's pretty,
bona fide.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, we love the feedback, and the stars make us happy.
It also helps people to find the show. The more ratings and reviews we get, the more we get boosted in search results when people are looking for shows about health and fitness.
Yep.
So if you're still making half-heart cookies, but would want to give your whole heart to your weight loss and fitness plan, just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.